What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Sunday, August 11th. Saturday was a little bit up and down, guys. We did get off to a fantastic start there. We had the Yankees -1.5 in game one of their doubleheader. They went out and got the 8-0 shutout for us, so put that one on the board. Nice to start the day off with a +110 win there. Unfortunately, things didn't continue that way exactly. We had the Padres in a very, very wild game, guys. We had a -1.5. Unfortunately, their pitching just not good enough to hold things down there against the Marlins. A big 6-run fifth inning was part of the problem, and yeah, San Diego ended up winning that game by 1 run, but not enough there for us. We had the Twins -120. Unfortunately, the Twins bats could not get going at all. That was a 2-1 loss there for the Twins, so that's a pretty annoying one. Would have expected better from them in that game. We did have the Royals -130. That was a solid bounce back win for them. 8-3 win for the Royals. Waka pitched 7 solid innings, so we were dead on about that game. We also had the over there in the Phillies-Arizona game, over 8.5. It ended up being an 11-1 win for the Phillies with a 7-run 7th inning coming in clutch for us. So we'll definitely take that. That got us to 3-2 on the day, but couldn't finish things off, guys. The Mets +112. They got shut out in that game. Could not get anything going. So a 3-3 day overall, not what we were after. Let's get back after it and see if we can find some value on this Sunday slate. Before we jump into the games for today, just a heads up, I'm going to be traveling to Scotland from August 12th through the 20th, but don't worry, we are still going to have content every day. There will be a new NFL video every day with our week 1 first looks and our season outlook for every single team, and I'll be posting my favorite MLB picks for each day down in the pinned comment on those videos and also in the community posts. Any questions about this, please let me know in the comments. Take a second to hit that like button, guys. It's a thank you for all the free content, and it only takes 1 second. If you like these videos, go ahead and join our community by subscribing so you don't miss out on our daily content. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list, and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Angels come to this game fresh off of another loss. They've now lost the first 2 games of the series to fall to 51-66 on the year. Not a lot of stuff going right for the Angels this season, guys. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Jack Kohanowitz. He comes into this game 0-2 on the season with a 14.14 ERA. Not having the best time out there, guys. It's his third appearance of the season, his 3rd start overall. His last one was at the Oakland A's. He got absolutely destroyed, giving up 7 earned runs over 4 innings of work. His start before that, back on the 11th, was against Seattle. Not a lot different of a result there. 3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 runs allowed. So yeah, this young guy not having a great time up there in the majors. We'll see if he gets a little bit better here in this start, but I am not really expecting too much positive coming out of him. Also not expecting great things from this bullpen, guys. I mean, they've been trending in something of a positive direction lately, but a 4.22 bullpen ERA over the course of the season isn't great. Obviously, that's a lot better number than what we're seeing from Kohanowitz right now, but overall, just not a pitching staff that I'm very excited about, and not excited about their chances here in this spot of having a positive start. In terms of their offense, guys, the Angels have taken a nosedive after that very, very nice series they had there at the Yankees. In this series so far at Washington, guys, they've scored 2 and 4 runs respectively. So yeah, that's not exactly what this offense is supposed to be doing, although at this point in the season, there's really not a lot of reason for the Angels to be trying too hard. It's more like tank it out, and yeah, I know there's not, like a big important MLB draft to really be tanking for, but you guys get what I'm saying. Not a lot to play for right now for an offense that is 26th in the majors in runs scored and 24th in the majors in slugging percentage. They're only batting .237 as a team, guys. So not a lot of positive things to say about the Angels in this spot. How about the Nationals, guys? I mean, they've now won 2 in a row, so that's cool. They are 54-64 in the year, so 10 games below 500. Not exactly a team with a whole lot of postseason hopes. They're handing the ball in this one to Mackenzie Gore, who's 7-9 this year with a 4.66 ERA. He's not having the best season, guys, but also not the worst. He is in a little bit of a bounce back spot after a rough start there against the Giants. He went 5 innings, gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs. He gave 2 home runs in that game, so obviously not his best stuff there after a decent but maybe not elite outing at Arizona, which is obviously a pretty tough place to pitch, guys. He hasn't faced the Angels yet this season, I don't think. Yeah, it's looking like he has not, so nothing to be gleaned from that, but generally speaking, how do we feel about how he's throwing the ball lately? It's been a little up and down. He's had some decent starts. He's had some really bad starts, so we'll see what we get out of him in this game. Not somebody that I'm super excited to have out there on the mound, and also, guys, not super excited about that Washington Nationals bullpen. I mean, maybe a little bit of progress recently, but a 4.20 bullpen ERA, not among the league leaders, I'll definitely say that. And this offense, guys, well, they've had a little bit of an awakening, scoring 5, 3, 5, 4, and 11 runs over their last few games. I can't necessarily lock them in as a solid hitting team. I mean, we've seen some exciting things from them recently. They just had a very exciting walk-off win there, so that's cool. But overall, guys, this is not an offense that I'm super high on. They're 15th in the majors in batting average, which, league average and batting average, okay, I see you. Also league average and on-base percentage, but not a lot of power numbers from this team. They're 17th in the majors in runs scored. We're leading on Luis Garcia Jr. and CJ Abrams to lead the way for this offense, and I don't know if those are really two guys that inspire an awful lot of faith in me here. And I mean, we also see Abrams banged up here. He's dealing with a back issue. He's listed as day-to-day, so we don't even know if we're going to see him in this game. So looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we've got the Angels at plus 120, the Nationals at minus 137. We have an over-under of 9 in this game. The Angels are 25-31 on the road, so not great on the road. Washington is 28-31 at home, so not a disaster of a home record for a team that's, 10 or so games below 500, but, also not inspiring a ton of confidence. We also don't see any major trends towards the over-under for this game. Generally speaking, guys, I do think the Nationals are in pretty good shape to earn the sweep here and win their third straight game. I would not mind taking them minus 137, especially given who the Angels are going to have on the mound. So yeah, go ahead and give me the Nationals at minus 137 in this very early game. I don't really have much of a lean on the over-under. If you wanted to take a look at the over, I guess that would be the one that would make the most sense to me. But yeah, generally speaking, the Nationals are my lean in this game. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Astros come into this game winners of their last 4 in a row. They're currently tied with Seattle there atop the AL West. They're 61-55 on the year, handing the ball to Hunter Brown, who comes into this game 9-7 with a 3.98 ERA, fresh off of a very good start at the Rangers, guys. 6 innings, 3 hits, only a single earned run surrendered in that game. Unfortunately for the Astros, they lost that one 4-3 in extra innings, but man, that was not Hunter Brown's fault, guys. He was looking great out there, absolutely dealing. So we'll see what he can do here against the Red Sox, a team that he has not faced yet this season. Kind of a test here for the 25-year-old, not going to lie. The Red Sox are generally a pretty solid hitting team, so we'll see what he can do, but I'm expecting good stuff from him in this game, and I'm also expecting some pretty decent stuff from that Houston bullpen that's around almost or right there in the top 10 in the majors with a 3.70 bullpen ERA. They have really come a long way here in the second half of the season, guys. Things looking up for this pitching staff overall, and the offense is figuring some stuff out too. I wouldn't say they're going nuts, guys. I mean, they've scored 5, 8, 6, 4, and 3 runs respectively over their last few games, so not lighting the world on fire, but they're getting it done out there a decent amount. I mean, 3rd in the majors in batting average, 10th in the majors in on-base percentage. This is a team that's been putting up good numbers basically all season long. It's just they've weirdly struggled to get runners across the plate. So right now, things are definitely looking up for the Astros. So we'll see how they do here in this 3rd game against Boston, who has now lost 3 in a row. They're handing the ball in this game to James Paxton, who's 9-3 on the year with a 4.42 ERA. Ever since, coming over, getting acquired by Boston there from the Dodgers, he's had 2 starts. The first one against Seattle was a pretty rocky outing, guys. He did not have a good time in that game, and we saw Boston lose 10-6, but his second start was at the Royals, so generally speaking, tough place to pitch. He looked great out there. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 2 runs allowed, and yeah, that was a game we saw Boston win 9-5. So I think we can maybe not completely safely say he's back, and looking good out there, but a little bit we could say he's back, I think. I'm expecting a decent start here from James Paxton in this spot, and what do we expect from that Boston bullpen? That could be a little bit of a different story, guys. They have not been having the best time lately. A 4.22 bullpen ERA has them in the bottom 10 in the majors, so that's a concern. Whenever Paxton comes out of the game, will the bullpen be able to hold on if they're given a lead? Also, guys, the Red Sox bats have been having a rough time. They scored 4, 6, and 9 runs respectively over the last few, but yeah, 4 runs in each of their last 3 games. That's not exactly what this offense is designed to be doing, guys. They are 5th in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in the majors in batting average, batting .262 as a team. We're also getting some pretty interesting news for the Red Sox that Trevor Story is very likely going to be back this season and very likely going to be back pretty soon, so that's some cool news for them. That should definitely be a little bit of a boost there, but how do we feel about how they're hitting the ball right now? I mean, they've been a great hitting team this season, don't get me wrong. Obviously a top 3, 4, something like that offense in the majors by the numbers, and yeah, I mean, they've got to come alive at some point. Will it be here against Hunter Brown that's been throwing the ball well recently, though? We'll just have to see, guys. I mean, he hasn't faced too many hard-hitting opponents recently. The last time he faced a good hitting team, I would say, was the Minnesota Twins, and he got absolutely shelled, so I'm a little bit nervous for him in this game. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Astros at minus 134, the Red Sox at plus 118. We've got an over-under of 10 in this game, so the odds makers expecting plenty of offense in this one. Houston, 27-29 on the road. They've been getting better and better on the road as the season's gone on. Boston 27-30 at home, so not the best home team. We also see both teams showing kind of significant trends towards the under. Well, not Boston's trends, but Houston is a significant under team when playing on the road. But an over-under of 10, I'm not super interested in that. But guys, I am actually interested in the Red Sox plus 118. I think there's a decent shot we see Hunter Brown struggle in this matchup against an elite offense, and James Paxton seems like he's rounding into form here for the Red Sox. So yeah, go ahead and give me the Red Sox at plus 118. That is a very nice price. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Rangers come into this game fresh off of a 9-4 win there in Game 2 of this series. Pretty solid stuff there. The Rangers are only 55-62 on the year, so not headed anywhere important. They're handing the ball in this one to Andrew Heaney, who's 4-11 on the season with a 3.98 ERA. His last start was a very good one against Houston, guys. 6 innings, only gave up 1 hit and 1 earned run. It was a home run. He struck out 4 and walked 1. In a game, the Rangers eventually won 4-3 in 10 innings. So good stuff from him. Not a guy that's having a lights out season by any stretch of the imagination, but he's done some positive things there for a Rangers team that's had a bit of a hard go of it. So we'll see what we get out of him in this one. Obviously, these are two teams coming off of a doubleheader, so that could be a little bit rough, a little bit of fatigue. And what are we going to get out of that Rangers bullpen? I mean, I don't think anything good, guys. A 4.57 bullpen ERA fills me with dread. It's got to fill you with dread anytime you see those guys come up there. And while they did hit the ball extremely well in Game 2 of the doubleheader, they got shut out in Game 1. So I've got my questions about this offense for sure. I mean, we've seen good things from Corey Seager, absolutely no doubt about that. And rookie Cody Bradford looking good out there in Game 2. But yeah, generally speaking, I've got some significant concerns about this offense and about this bullpen going into this matchup against the Yankees, who, yeah, they haven't been having the greatest time lately. They've lost 3 out of their last 4, having to play a lot of makeup games and doubleheaders and stuff, probably getting a little exhausted. But at 69-49 on the year, they're only 1 game back of Boston in the AL East. They're handing the ball to Marcus Stroman, who's 7-6 this season with a 4.10 ERA. He needs to break out of a funk, guys. He is in a bounce back spot after getting absolutely destroyed by Toronto. But yeah, when you've gotten destroyed 2 games in a row, I'm starting to get pretty worried. Got destroyed at Boston and then at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. So yeah, need to see some sort of bounce back here from Stroman, who's not having the best time lately. The Yankees bullpen has to be a little bit depleted right now, but a 3.61 bullpen ERA, certainly not the end of the world. So we'll see what we get from them when we see Stroman come out of the game. The Yankees offense only scored 4 runs in Game 2 of that doubleheader, but generally speaking, guys, this is one of the the toughest offenses in the MLB. 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 10th in the majors in batting average. They're the 3rd best slugging percentage team in the majors. Obviously, Aaron Judge looking like an insane person up there at the plate. 41 home runs, still batting .323 on the season. Like, I'm expecting big stuff from their offense in this game. So looking at the numbers for this one, we see the Rangers at plus 125. We got the Yankees at minus 142. We got an over-under of 9.5 in this game. The Rangers, not a great road team, guys. Only 24-35 on the road. The Yankees are 31-27 at home, so that's definitely respectable, but not exactly the level that I would have expected to see them at. In terms of the over-under, we see both teams showing trends towards the over here, and with 9.5 and these 2 starters out there, I could definitely see there being plenty of runs, so I would shade towards the over maybe a little bit, and I think there's a good chance the Yankees win this game at minus 142. I think Stroman could have a bounce back here against the Rangers, and even if he doesn't, we could see enough offense from the Yankees that they win this game. All that being said, am I taking any of this in the pinned comment? It seems extremely unlikely. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Oakland A's going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. The A's come into this game fresh off of a 1-0 win there in Game 2 of this series. Yeah, not a lot of exciting stuff going on there except for Rooker hitting his 29th home run. That and Beto and 3 relievers combining to pitch a 2-hitter. That's pretty solid stuff, guys. The A's, not a lot of hope for this season at 49-69 on the year. They're hitting the ball in this one to J.P. Sears, who's 9-8 on the season with a 4.35 ERA. His last start was against the White Sox, guys, and he looked great. 7 innings, 3 hits, only a single earned run allowed. His start before that was at the San Francisco Giants, and he was even, just as good, maybe even better, depending on how you want to look at it. Actually, definitely better. He had 9 strikeouts, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 runs allowed. So absolutely elite stuff coming here from J.P. Sears. Will he be able to replicate that kind of success against the Blue Jays? Well, it doesn't seem impossible to me, guys. This dude's had a pretty decent season, all things considered. In terms of their bullpen, guys, I mean, Oakland's been very good. They're 5th in the majors right now with a 3.59 bullpen ERA. And for a team that's, not having the hottest season, that is a very, very nice number. So we'll see what they can do here. We'll also see if their offense can kind of get back online. They've scored 1, 3, and 1 runs respectively over their last few games, and this isn't the worst offensive team out there, guys. They've got some decent slugging percentage numbers. They've got a legitimate big-time superstar hitter in Brent Rooker, or at least that's my opinion. Maybe I'm slightly overstating that, but the dude looks really, really good out there. Not a lot of other offensive numbers to be proud of, but generally speaking, I think they're in line to, hit the ball a little bit better. We'll see if they can do that here against the Blue Jays, who have won 2 out of the last 3, but getting shut out doesn't probably feel too great. They're hitting the ball to Chris Bassett. He's 9-10 on the season with a 3.95 ERA. His last start was against the Baltimore Orioles, guys, and it was a very, very good one. 7 innings, 3 hits, only 2 earned runs allowed, so definitely a nice start for him. His best start over his last 5, so had to feel good for him. Also a feeling of relief, but he went 7 innings, which is pretty deep into a game for him, and do we really expect him to be able to do that again? I don't know. We'll kind of have to wait and see. The last time he, had a start against the Oakland A's, it was at Oakland. He was very good over 8 innings in that game, but he hasn't pitched 7 innings over any of his last, 5 starts before that. And the last time he had a long start, he didn't really suffer after it. So I guess we're not too worried about Bassett out there in this one, but we are definitely worried about that Blue Jays bullpen, guys. They are second to last in the majors with a 5.07 bullpen ERA. That's pretty much a tragedy, and obviously the offense coming off a game where they got shut out. They're leaning very, very heavily here on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to carry this offense, and he's batting .322 now, so he's been on a tear here ever since he didn't get traded. He's gone on a long hitting streak, so give him some credit there, but over the course of this year, this offense has not been very good, guys. 24th in the majors in runs scored, 21st in the majors in slugging percentage, and they're in a pitching matchup that I don't really think is an amazing spot for them. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Oakland A's at +132, the Blue Jays at -150. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Oakland is only 20-39 on the road. Toronto is 29-30 at home. We see mixed trends towards the over-under here, guys. Oakland's a significant under team when playing on the road. Toronto is a significant over team at home, so not a lot of love here for me on that over-under. I do think I would lean slightly towards the under. I'm expecting both of these pitchers to have a pretty good time out there, and neither offenses looked great, but guys, this is a Sunday, so weird things could possibly happen. I also think I like the A's at +132. I think that's the best value in this game. I don't think they win it every time necessarily, so don't go throwing this in your parlays necessarily, but I do think this is a pretty good spot. I mean, JP Sears is great, and I mean, while Bassett's been good, he is coming off an extended start, so maybe that could be a little bit of a reason for concern, but is this going in the pinned comment? I don't know, guys. I do like Oakland a good amount in this one. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Orioles come into this game fresh off of a 7-5 win there in Game 2 of this series. They've won the first 2 games, and I'm not going to say it was super comfortable, but they found ways to get those wins. They've also won 3 out of their last 4 overall to hold on to that top spot in the AL East, only a 1-game lead there over the Yankees. They're hitting the ball in this one to Albert Suarez, who's 5-4 this year with a 3.66 ERA. His last start was a great one, guys, at Toronto. 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs allowed. Definitely a great bounce back after just a tragedy there at Cleveland. So we're hoping that he's back on track, but he's had a rough time lately. So I'm going to need to see a little bit more than probably 1 start here to just assume that this guy's going to be able to lock back in. The last time he went against Tampa Bay was back at the end of May, and he was very good in that start. So give him some credit there, but I'm a little bit worried about him here. I mean, we'll see what we get out of him. I don't think there's a ton of reason to think he's going to do terrible, but he worries me a little bit here, guys. And also the Baltimore bullpen worries me. A 4.05 bullpen ERA is not where this team was wanting to be. They were a good bullpen early in the season, and that has just, not continued here down the stretch. The offense is where this team really shines, guys. They've scored 7, 4, 6, 7, 2, and 9 runs respectively over their last few games. Seems like they're heating back up a little bit. They're second in the majors in runs scored, still first in slugging percentage, a spot they have not relinquished at all this season. Lots of very, very exciting young talent. I'm expecting good stuff from Baltimore at the plate pretty much every game, so we'll see what they can do here going up against the Tampa Bay Rays, who have now lost 4 out of their last 5 to fall to 58 and 58 on the season. Not exactly a team that's having the best time, guys. They're handing the ball to Jeffrey Spriggs in this game, who's 0-1 on the season with a 6.23 ERA. This is only his 3rd outing of the year, guys. This is going to be his 3rd start. His first one was a mediocre one back on the 30th of July against the Marlins. His next one, he was at St. Louis, guys. 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, and 2 home runs allowed in a 4-3 loss there for the Rays. So a little bit worried about this guy out there. I mean, he's a big-ish left-handed pitcher, so we'll see what the Orioles make out of him, but I'm not expecting him to have the best time. I'm also not expecting miracles from this Tampa Bay bullpen, although they've been trending in a positive direction, guys. A 3.95 bullpen ERA is nothing to turn your nose up at, but yeah, not a bullpen that I think you can just lock in and say, hey, they got handed a lead, they're going to do well. In terms of their offense, they've scored 5, 1, 6, 2, and 3 runs respectively over their last few games. This team is 28th in the majors in runs scored this season, guys. Not exactly the kind of numbers that fill me with optimism. 25th in batting average, batting .234 as a team. Like, I'm just not expecting them to put up a crazy amount of offense in this game. So looking at the numbers for this one, we see the Orioles at -108, the Tampa Bay Rays at -102. We've got an over-under in this game of 8. Baltimore is 36-23 on the road. That's pretty solid, guys. Tampa Bay 30-31 at home, so whatever. They're a 500 team and they're basically 500 at home. That makes sense. We also see Baltimore as a huge over team on the road. They're 37-19-3 to the over on the road. Tampa Bay is a 50-50 over/under team at home. So generally speaking, in this game, guys, I know we're picking them to win their 3rd straight game, but I do like Baltimore a good amount in this spot. Jeffrey Spriggs is not a guy that I have a lot of faith in, and with Baltimore being such a great hitting team, I think they're going to have their way with him here. This price seems very, very reasonable. It's so reasonable that it scares me off a little bit, to be honest. In terms of the over/under here, I do lean towards the over as well. I think that might be the safer play on this game, to be honest. I mean, Baltimore has been, they've been playing well. Only one of these games had a ton of runs scored in it, though. So, yeah, generally speaking, I'm leaning towards Baltimore in the over, but I'm not 100% sure if either one of those is going in the pinned comment. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins. These two teams played an absolute barn burner yesterday, with San Diego eventually coming away with a 9-8 win. They've now won 7 straight games, so killing it out there right now. They're handing the ball to Dylan Cease, who's 11-8 on the season with a 3.40 ERA. He had that shutout, then backs it up with a very good outing there against the Dodgers, then had a rain-shortened outing there at Pittsburgh in a game we eventually saw the Padres win 6-0. So very, very solid stuff from Dylan Cease. He should be rested and ready to go for this game after only a 1-run start his last time out. So yeah, pretty much expecting this guy to be very, very, very lights out there. You wanted to find some sort of prop on him throwing a no-hitter in this game? Sure, knock yourself out, because I'm expecting great stuff from Dylan Cease. In terms of their bullpen, how do I feel about the Padres? They've been trending in a positive direction for a long time now, guys. A 4.00 bullpen ERA. Huge improvement for them over the course of the season. Definitely give them lots of credit there. The bats have been very hot for the Padres as well, guys. They've scored 9, 6, 7, 9, 6, and 10 runs, respectively, over their last few games. Absolutely killing it up there at the plate. They're up to 11th in the majors in runs scored. They are the top batting average team in the MLB, hitting .265 as a squad. Like, really nothing bad to say about this offense right now. They are absolutely killing it. So we'll see what they can do here against the Marlins, who gave them all they could handle there in Game 2 of this series at 43-75. Not a lot for the Marlins to play for right now. They're hitting the ball to Max Meyer in this game. He's 2-2 on the year with a 5.10 ERA. His last start was not a good one against the Reds, guys. I mean, 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs allowed. His last 3 starts, he's just gotten slightly worse in each one of them, and he hasn't necessarily been taking on the hottest hitting opponents either, so we're definitely worried about Meyer in this game. This is only his, 7th start of the season, so yeah, he hasn't been up at the big league team that long. He's only 25 years old. This seems like a little bit of a rough spot for him, in my opinion. So looking at the Marlins bullpen, it's been better than you would expect, guys. A 3.97 bullpen ERA is fine, but not necessarily a lockdown style number. And the bats, guys, they did go off for 8 runs in Game 2 of this series, but they scored 8, 2, 4, 6, and 2 runs over their last few. Trading away your best guy at the trade deadline is not a way to make your offense better, and really the only team they're showing better numbers than this season in terms of runs, on-base percentage, or slugging percentage is the Chicago White Sox. So pretty much a basement dweller there. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Padres at -200, the Marlins at +180. We've got over-under showing out there of 7.5 or 8. Generally speaking, in this game, guys, I'm leaning pretty hard towards the Padres. They really messed around yesterday, so I think they might get their heads back on straight for this one and really buckle down and try and win this one. So I think taking the Padres -1.5, you can get them at something like 120, 118, somewhere in that range. That seems pretty reasonable to me. I also think taking over 7.5 could have some value, but I really don't trust Dylan Cease to give up too many runs. So my main lean in this one is going to be the Padres -1.5. You guys probably aren't super stoked to see that after that debacle yesterday where they only won by 1, but having Dylan Cease on the mound is just too good of an opportunity to pass up. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. This is the only game in today's video that does not have numbers released right now. The Reds come into this one fresh off of losing the first two in this series. They lost game 2 1-0, so that's pretty annoying stuff there for Reds fans. At 56 and 61 on the year, they're not doing too great. They're actually in the bottom spot in the NL Central. They're hitting the ball to Nick Lodolo in this one, who's 9-4 on the season with a 3.93 ERA. His last start was against the Marlins, and he was very good out there. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. He struck out 7 in an 8-2 Reds win. So they'll definitely take that. Needed a good outing from him after a debacle against the Cubs. Now they really need him to come out and shut down the Milwaukee Brewers to give him a chance to win this game. So we'll see what Lodolo can do out there. We'll also see what we get from this Reds bullpen that's been very good here over most of the last second part of the season. They got off to a rocky start, but right now 4th in the majors, a 3.58 bullpen ERA. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, guys. The question for this team is constantly, where is the offense going to be at? And it's been all over the place this season, guys. I mean, obviously getting shut out. They've only scored 3 runs over 2 games to start this series. That's not what you need. That's not what's going to work. We see Elly De La Cruz leading the way for this offense. He's one of the most exciting players in baseball right now. But guys, this team is 26th in the majors, batting .231 as a team, and they're getting on base at a .304 clip. Like, just not the kind of offensive numbers that are going to translate into tons of wins. So definitely concerned about their offense in this matchup. They're taking on the Milwaukee Brewers in this one, who have now won 5 straight games, creating quite the cushion for themselves there in the NL Central. Unfortunately for us right now, we don't have a confirmed starter for the Brewers, so not sure who they're going to be running out there on the mound. If they end up doing a full bullpen start, I don't think we're too distraught about that. They haven't had great starting pitching this season, so honestly, a full bullpen start might be something of an improvement for a team that's 3rd in the majors with a 3.30 ERA coming out of the pen. So we'll see what we get from the Brewers in that sense. Obviously, they're coming off a game they only scored 1 run, but the offense has been great recently, guys. 1, 8, 16, 8, and 10 runs respectively over their last few games. They're tied for 6th in the majors in runs scored. They are the top on-base percentage team in the major leagues. So yeah, just a lot of positives here for the Brewers. So yeah, I would say look at the numbers for this game, but we have none at the moment. The Reds are a slightly below 500 team on the road. Milwaukee is 33-21 at home. We see both teams showing some trends towards the over, so we'll see what that over-under number is. I mean, Milwaukee 32, 17, and 5 to the over at home. So yeah, that would be finding an over spot in this game would be nice. But we'll just see what kind of numbers pop up, and we'll be updating that pinned comment if this one ends up in there. Rolling right along here, guys, we've got the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. We saw Cleveland come out on top in a 2-1 nail-biter there. They snapped that 7-game losing streak. Yeah, I mean, Stephen Kwan and Bo Naylor, they carried the way there. Yeah, crazy, low-scoring game there. Cleveland able to come away with the win. Didn't get what we thought we'd get from Minnesota. The Guardians are going to be handing the ball to Tanner Bybee in this game, who's 9-4 on the year with a 3.48 ERA. His last start was at Detroit, guys. He's actually pitched 3 times against Detroit over his last 5 starts, and he's looked pretty good in most of those outings. He had a good start against San Diego a while ago, so generally speaking, we're pretty happy about how he's throwing the ball right now. The last time he faced the Twins, he had a great outing against them in May, so we'll see if he can carry that over. This guy has been very good this season, no doubt about that. Obviously, the Cleveland bullpen's been fantastic as well, guys. A 2.67 bullpen ERA. Very little to complain about there. And the offense, guys, that's been the problem. I mean, we saw Kwan hit a leadoff home run, so that's fun. Yeah, Naylor helped, but yeah, just, oh man, not an offense that I'm super sold on right now. I mean, they snapped a losing streak, guys, by winning a game 2-1. So not exactly an offensive outburst. This team is down to 12th in the majors in runs scored, 18th in the majors in batting average. Like, they need Ramirez and Kwan to carry the way for this team, and if that doesn't happen, it's very hard for them to win games. So we'll see what they can do here. Going up against the Twins, who come into this one 2.5 games back of Cleveland there in the AL Central. The Twins are going to be handing the ball in this one to David Festa, who's 2-2 on the season with a 5.55 ERA. His last start was at the Cubs, and he was lights out, guys. 5 innings, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, no runs allowed, and a 3-0 win there for the Twins. His start before that was a very good one at the Mets. Start before that was serviceable against the Phillies. That was actually a long relief appearance. So yeah, we're loving what we're seeing from this young guy out there right now. I mean, he's a huge right-hander, 6'6" out there on the mound, like 24 years old, absolutely killing it. So expecting good stuff from him in this start. especially against an offense that's not having the best time recently. In terms of their bullpen, the Twins haven't been bad either. A 3.93 bullpen ERA, obviously not elite, but a slightly above average number, and definitely a bullpen that you can, at least slightly trust here. And looking at their bats, guys, it's been a bit of a struggle lately. I mean, they've scored 1, 6, 4, 2, and 3 runs over their last few games. They're 8th in the majors in runs scored, 6th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, this offense is better than the numbers we're seeing them put up right now. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what they can get going in this one against Bybee. Not the easiest guy, not the easiest nut to crack. So, looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Guardians at -113, the Twins at +100. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Cleveland is 33-29 on the road. The Minnesota Twins are 34-22 at home, so a very good home team. In terms of the trends towards the over-under, guys, we see Cleveland is a significant under team on the road. Minnesota is a slight over team at home. With an over-under of 8.5 and these two guys on the mound and the Cleveland bullpen, I'm looking at an under 8.5 being a very reasonable spot. In terms of the side, I guess you could maybe get me to go with the Twins +100. I don't know if I love it, though, to be honest. I'm just not sold on how Cleveland's swinging the bats right now. But, yeah, give me under 8.5, maybe a slight lean towards the Twins +100, but I think the under is the better play on this game. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. We saw the Braves come away with a very exciting 11-8 win there in Game 2 of this series to snap a lengthy losing streak for them. They're 61-55 on the year, handing the ball in this one to Spencer Schwellenbach, who's 4-5 this year with a 4.04 ERA. His last start was a good one against the Marlins, guys. Not dominant, but good. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs against Miami in a game we eventually saw the Braves win 5-3. So they'll definitely take that. They'll take any positives they can get right now. And young Schwellenbach has been throwing the ball pretty well over his last 5 starts. Maybe a couple hiccups in there, like not his best showing against the Cardinals, but overall, this is a young guy that we can feel pretty decent about out there on the mound. He's going to be tested here in one of the toughest pitching environments in all of baseball, though. So, yeah, it could be a little bit rough out there. We're expecting good things from that Atlanta bullpen, although they've been having some rough times lately. Their bullpen ERA is ballooned to 3.20, so that's a number that's been headed not in the most positive direction, but, man, a series at Mile High can do that to you. Also, a series where you give up a crazy amount of runs to the Milwaukee Brewers won't help that number either. But, yeah, looking at the offense here for the Atlanta Braves, obviously scoring 11 runs in their last game has to feel great. They've scored 11, 5, 7, 5, and 0 runs over their last few, though. Not a team that's hitting the ball particularly well. We see Ozuna really having to carry the load for this team. We saw Matt Olson home run, so that's nice. 2 home runs, actually, in that game. Drove in 6 runs to help snap this losing streak here, but, man, They need some consistency there on offense. Things have not been great. They're down to 23rd in the majors in runs scored and 24th in the majors in on-base percentage. So definitely a lot of concerns for Atlanta, and they're taking on the Colorado Rockies in this game, who come into this one obviously fresh off that loss. They won Game 1 of this series. Not a team that's been having an amazing time this year, but they've found some reason for optimism. They're handing the ball in this one to Kyle Freeland. Part of that reason for optimism right there, guys. 3-4 on the season with a 5.65 ERA. His last start wasn't his best effort against the Mets, guys. 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. That was a game that we saw the Rockies win, though, and they've won 4 out of his last 5 starts. So definitely something to kind of like sit up and take notice of here. I mean, Freeland, not a young guy, 31 years old. Like, he's doing his thing out there, auditioning for future jobs or future employment here with Colorado, and he's been throwing the ball pretty well, even against some decent, opposition. He had 1 bad start, 1 good start against the Giants. He's doing his thing out there. So looking at the Colorado bullpen, that is a whole different situation, guys. They are dead last in the majors, a 5.56 bullpen ERA. Not really, not great. Not the kind of numbers you want to see. The offense, they've scored 8, 6, 1, 3, and 6 runs respectively over their last few. Not a great offensive team, but you can put up some decent offensive numbers there at Coors Field, and it's going to happen occasionally. Like, even if you don't have the best offense, you're going to score some runs regardless. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Braves at -178, the Rockies at +163. We've got an over-under of 10.5 in this game. In terms of the side in this one, I do think there's actually some value in taking the Rockies at +163. I'm just not happy with what I'm seeing from Atlanta's bats right now. I know they're coming off a game where they scored 11 runs, but I don't necessarily think we're going to see them do that again. I've liked the way Kyle Freeland's been throwing the ball. Am I worried about that Colorado bullpen? Absolutely I am. And yeah, this is an odd spot, guys. We've got both teams showing trends towards the under in this situation, but an over-under of 10.5, and you're at Coors Field, guys. I think this might call for an overplay. So yeah, generally speaking, this is not a game that I have a ton of interest in, but if you're forcing me to bet it, I like the Rockies plus 163 just a little bit, and I like over 10.5. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. The Tigers come into this game losers of their last 3 in a row. They're 55-63 on the year, so things are kind of headed the direction it looked like they were going to start heading once the Tigers were trading guys away at the trade deadline. They're handing the ball in this one to Keter Montero, who's 2-5 on the season with a 5.62 ERA. His last start was a very good one at Seattle, guys. 6 innings, 4 hits, only a single earned run allowed, but his starts before that don't really fill me with a ton of optimism. This is not a guy that I'm looking at as a premium level starter at the moment, and yeah, the Tigers bullpen also doesn't really fill me with a ton of optimism either. They haven't been a disaster, I guess, but a 4.20 bullpen ERA doesn't make me too happy, and the offense has been abysmal, guys. I mean, 1, 2, and 3 runs respectively over their last few games, just not getting it done. So we'll see what they can do here going up against the Giants, who come into this game winners of their last 4 in a row. They're 61-58 on the year, trying to make a hard charge here. We'll see what they can do. They're handing the ball in this one to Hayden Birdsong, who's 1-3 on the season with a 4.73 ERA. He's coming off of his worst start of the year, guys. It was at the Washington Nationals, and he got absolutely destroyed out there. 2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 7 earned runs, allowed to give up 2 home runs in that game. He walked 3 and struck out 1, like just clearly did not have his best stuff. So we're looking to see him get back on track here going up against a Tigers team that's not, a very tough hitting opponent. This dude's only 22 years old. You got to expect some inconsistency out there. And yeah, even the odds makers seem like they are back on the side of Hayden Birdsong in this game. In terms of their bullpen, what do we expect out of the Giants? Well, not a lot of positive, guys. A 4.21 bullpen ERA doesn't make me too happy. The offense, 3, 9, and 7 runs respectively over the last few. Obviously, the last couple of games, not too high scoring there. They're 14th in the majors in runs scored, 14th in the majors in batting average, batting .244 as a team. Like, this just is an offense that fills me with a ton of optimism. But looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Tigers at plus 163, the Giants at minus 172. We've got an over-under of 8 in this one. Detroit, not a great road team. The Giants are a very good home team, though, guys. 35, 23, and 23 at home. That is excellent. We see mixed trends towards the over-under here, so we're not too interested in that over-under of 8, but I am interested in the Giants to win this game. Minus 172 seems like a pretty expensive price. If you take a minus 1.5, you can get them at like plus 120 or plus 125, somewhere in there, so that's pretty appealing, but I don't know if I trust their offense enough in this spot, although they are going up against Keter Montero, so you could maybe talk me into it, but either way, guys, I do like the Giants to win this game a good amount. Cruising along here through these games, guys, we're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Phillies come into this game fresh off of a tough 11-1 loss here in Game 3 of this series. They won Game 1, then lost Game 2 in a nail-biter, then got blown out in Game 3. They're 69-48 on the year. Nothing for this team to really be worried about right now. They're handing the ball to Christopher Sanchez, who's 8-7 this season with a 3.27 ERA. He's coming off of a great bounce-back start against the Dodgers, guys. 6 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run allowed in a 6-2 Phillies win. So he has to feel pretty great about that. We'll see how he looks here against the Diamondbacks, a very tough hitting team. We'll also see what we get out of that Phillies bullpen, guys. They're not having the best time this season, down in the bottom half of the majors with a 3.99 bullpen ERA after being a much better bullpen earlier in the season. So they're trying to reshape that bullpen. Obviously, it doesn't look like it's going great so far, but maybe there's some reason for optimism. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not really feeling it. The offense is not looking very good, guys. They've scored 3 combined runs over their last 2 games. That's not what you're looking for. They are 6th in the majors in runs scored and 7th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, over the course of this year, they've been a fantastic offense, but right now that is just not, that's not happening. Obviously, seeing Hayes go down to the IL with a hamstring issue isn't ideal, but yeah, I don't think this offense should be fully offline the way it's looking right now. So we'll see what they can get done here against the Diamondbacks, who have now won 4 out of their last 5 and have just been killing it here down the stretch. They are 65-53 on the season. They're only 3.5 games back of the Dodgers there in the NL West. They're handing the ball in this one to Merrill Kelly, who's going to be making his first start since coming off the IL. He was on the 60-day injured list. He had a shoulder injury there, guys. The last time he pitched was back on the 15th of April against the Cubs. So he was lights out early on in the season. He got off to a 2-0 start with a 2.19 ERA. So hopes are very high there for the Diamondbacks that he is going to come back and just pick up right where he left off. So we'll see what we get from him. We'll also see what we get from this Diamondbacks bullpen that's been trending in a very positive direction, guys. Still sporting a 4.25 bullpen ERA over the course of the season, but they've definitely been way better here down the stretch. And speaking of better, guys, the Arizona Diamondbacks offense looks better than pretty much anyone. They've scored 11, 3, 4, 5, and 7 runs over their last few games. They are first in the majors in runs scored. 5th in the majors in slugging percentage. They're batting .258 as a team. They've got tons of sluggers they run up there. Like, this is an absolutely terrifying offense. So, guys, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Phillies at -115, the Diamondbacks at +102. We've got an over-under of 9 in this one. The Phillies are 30-27 on the road. Arizona is 33-26 at home. That home record just keeps getting better for them. We also see both teams showing trends towards the over, with Arizona being a significant over team at 35-23-1 to the over at home. So, guys, I'm going to be leaning maybe a little bit towards that over 9, but definitely towards the Diamondbacks +102 here at home. I think this is just kind of a bad spot for the Phillies. I don't think they have any reason to play with, urgency right now. The Diamondbacks certainly do. So, yeah, go ahead and give me Arizona +102 in this spot. Seems very reasonable to me. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Pirates going on the road to take on the LA Dodgers. We saw the Pirates take the loss yesterday despite getting another very solid start from Paul Skeens. The young guy can only do so much out there for a team that's only going to give him one run of support. The Pirates have now lost 6 straight games. They're hitting the ball in this one to Bailey Falter, who's 5-7 on the year with a 3.87 ERA. His last start was a very good but very short one. I'm pretty sure that was a rain-shortened start, I believe, against the San Diego Padres. 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs allowed. So very, very solid stuff from him. He's looked great over, I would say, at least 3 out of his last 4 starts. There have been some, short ones in there and stuff like that, but generally speaking, I expect decent things from Falter in this game. The Pirates bullpen, although, is a completely different story, guys. A 4.45 bullpen ERA. This pen has just gotten worse and worse as the season goes on. So they've been a big part of this losing streak. So has the lack of offense, guys. I mean, the offense really hasn't been the biggest problem, though. I would say it's been more that bullpen. They've scored 1, 5, 6, 8, 0, and 5 runs respectively over their last few games. Yeah, I mean, Brian Reynolds is doing what he can, guys. This team is only 20th in the majors in runs scored, though, and 27th in slugging percentage. So not expecting any miracles here from the Pirates' bats. They're taking on the Dodgers, who come into this game winners of their last 2 in a row, obviously winning the first 2 games of this series. They're 68-49 on the year, but they do need to play with urgency, guys. They've only got a 2.5 and 3.5 game cushion, respectively, over the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks. So looking at the Dodgers starter for this game, they're going to be hitting the ball to Tyler Glasnow, who's 9-6 on the season with a 3.54 ERA. His last few starts have been fine. Maybe not elite, but fine. They've been against tough competition, so giving up 3, 2, and 5 earned runs over his last few games. Not too embarrassing, but in this one, guys, he gets a little bit of a breather. He gets to go against a Pirates team that he had a lot of success against back in June 4th, I think. 6 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run allowed. So very solid stuff for him in that last start against the Pirates. His last time out was a good start against the Phillies. Maybe not elite, but I'll give him credit for good. So we'll see what he does out there. I'm expecting good stuff out of him and out of this Dodgers bullpen that's had some minor struggles lately, but a 3.65 bullpen ERA, absolutely not the end of the world. The bats have been okay, guys. 4, 9, 4, 2, and 5 runs respectively over their last several. Ohtani absolutely doing his thing out there. This team is 4th in the majors in runs scored. Once we see Mookie Betts come back, which is going to be very, very soon, this team's going to be even better. So yeah, I'm expecting good stuff from the Dodgers, and so are the odds makers, guys. We've got the Pirates at +225, the Dodgers at -255. We've got an over-under of 8 out there. Pittsburgh is 29-28 on the road. The Dodgers are 36-21 at home. We see both teams showing some trends towards the over in this particular situation, but generally speaking, guys, this is not a game that I'm very excited about. You could talk me into over 8, sure. Just playing the trends there, that could work. I also think there's some slight value if you're forcing me to bet the side on taking the Pirates +225, but generally speaking, this is not a game that I have a lot of interest in. I don't have a great read on this one. I do think the Dodgers probably win it the significant majority of the time, enough to justify this price or to take them -1.5. I do not think so. So yeah, probably my biggest lean in this one is the over, and other than that, kind of a stay away spot. Last but not least here, guys, we've got the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. The Mets come into this game fresh off of a 4-0 and 6-0 shutouts here against the Seattle Mariners. Yeah, guys, you heard that right. They have been shut out so far, completely shut out by Seattle here in this series. The Mets are 61-56 on the year, handing the ball in this one to Luis Severino, hoping he can turn things around for them. I mean, he's 7-5 this year with a 4.06 ERA, but is this really somebody that we super trust to, lock things down? His last start, guys, was back on the 6th, and he did not have a good time against the Colorado Rockies. He hasn't been looking amazing over his last couple of starts, so that's definitely a concern. Going up against the Mariners here, they're not the hardest hitting team, so maybe we'll see something good out of him, but what are we going to see from that Mets bullpen, guys? They're pretty middle of the road, a 3.99 bullpen ERA, nothing to write home about, so not super stoked about their pitching staff in this spot, and man, their offense is getting destroyed here by that Seattle pitching, guys. I mean, 0 runs over their first 18 innings of this series is rough to look at. They're 9th in the majors in runs scored on the course of the season, and 9th in the majors in on-base percentage, but right now swinging some icy cold bats. So we'll see what they can do here against Seattle, hoping they can, get back on track. The Mariners are killing it right now. They've won 3 in a row. They're tied with Houston there atop the AL West. Definitely the most exciting race to watch right now in Major League Baseball. They're hitting the ball in this one to Luis Castillo, who's 9-11 on the season with a 3.48 ERA. His last start was a little rocky, guys, at the Tigers. 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs allowed. Just not his best stuff out there, despite going up against a pretty weak opponent. It seems like he kind of rises or falls to the challenge depending on who he's going against. Like a great start against Boston, a very good start against the Angels, a good start against Houston. Like, we'll just see what we get from Severino in this one. I'm not expecting miracles, but I'm also expecting him to be pretty freaking solid. That's kind of been this guy's MO all season, and that's the MO of the Seattle pitching staff, guys. They've been great this series so far. A 3.82 bullpen ERA isn't amazing, but it's also not terrible, and the offense is finding a way to manufacture runs, guys. 4, 6, and 4 runs respectively over their last few games. They are 27th in the majors in runs scored this season, but these offensive numbers for the Mariners recently are much, much improved. It seems like those moves are working. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Mets at plus 110, the Mariners at minus 124. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this one. The Mets are 30-26 on the road. The Mariners are 35-26 at home. We also see that the Seattle is the biggest under team at home in the major leagues, guys. 38-20-3 to the under at home. We see the Mets are 29-23-4 to the over on the road, but they're swinging the coldest bats in Major League Baseball right now. So under 7.5 definitely makes some sense to me in this game, as well as taking the Mariners minus 124. I'm not expecting miracles from Severino. I just don't think he's that good, and I think Seattle definitely has all the incentive they need to finish off this sweep. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.